All right, guys, welcome back to another live show. Hopefully, everyone is doing okay, having a good Sunday afternoon as it's about to be. A couple things happened. I was gonna have the show last night, but life has other plans, and then of course a little late today, but that's all right. So let me get one more thing checked out, but we do have a hopefully pretty informative show that's going to hopefully try to dive in and explain and um, give my opinions and theorize and the possibilities of what is actually going on with Bigfoot eyeshine, or even the possibility of glowing eyes, as many report. So what's the deal on that, right? We're going to take a look at a couple different things and try to figure out what exactly possibly is going on. Uh, this is not going to be a this is not going to be a woo paranormal type of explanations, but diving into the more natural stuff that we can reference. I'm trying to upload this picture, but it is not. It's not cooperating the way I want it to, so I'll deal with that later. That it's fine. But so my phone. So, what is the deal with Bigfoot glowing eyes? Do they have glowing eyes and stuff? Do they have eyes that can see in the dark? Are they nocturnal? Are they diurnal? Well, simply since we have lots of reports and potential eyewitnesses, experiences myself and other people, it seems to be that they're both active during the day and night. Potentially meaning that they're not truly nocturnal, but since we actually don't have a body and stuff, we actually don't know any of these answers that we're actually trying to discuss here today, because we don't actually have real observation and study on actually how they see and what they do, and if they are truly a nocturnal species or if they're both. And we're going to use some examples from some apes and lemurs to try to figure out what possibly is their evolutionary track, and what they have undergone, and what different new findings scientists keep discovering that might shed some interesting perspective on this. So first we're going to get a very basic introduction, and from this little pamphlet, let me get it ready for you guys. All right. Let me make sure this is all working. Looks like it is. Appreciate and shout out to the relic hominin. Sorry. It was actually his comment on the last video that kind of got me doing this show. So hopefully I can do good by him and stuff. And all right. So this is a basic document from I think this is the Boulder County of Colorado, a pamphlet where they talk a little bit about nocturnal animals. And you can find this information in a lot of different places and stuff, but I thought this was kind of neat. And so anyways, nocturnal animals and night vision. Nocturnal animals are animals that awake and active during the night. Many nocturnal animals have keen senses of hearing and touch and smell to get around the dark. Most also have eyes designed to see when there is very little light. And I'm going to have to apologize and stuff. I do get nervous reading out loud to people. I always find myself stumbling around a little bit, a lot more than I should. And so if I stumble around, or if I maybe start reading the sentences a little different than what's on there, it's because I actually do get a little nervous presenting all this stuff to you guys. And that comes from back in grade school in those little reading circles and the anticipation to read out loud and stuff, man, that produced some anxiety for reading and stuff. And I do not like reading out loud to people. Um, so bear with me and stuff. Okay. So I'm a little excited and stuff, a little anxiety and stuff. And it's fun. This is kind of hilarious that, a lot of emotions and feelings of stuff go into this. And I'm pretty excited to, share some of the stuff and do this. So just bear with me and stuff. I appreciate everyone. Nope, that's not what I want to show. What happened? Okay, let me put this back up. Like I said, I'm fidgeting and all over the place right now, right? All right, so a night sight with mirrored light. Animals in scary stories often have eyes that glow in the dark, kind of like Bigfoot, right? When car headlights reflect off the eyes of real critters besides the road, their shining eyes do look a little spooky. Yet eye shine simply doubles the amount of light inside the eye of some nocturnal animals. Their eyes have a layer of mirror-like cells called the tatum, which reflects light back through the eye. The more light bouncing around inside of the animal's eye, the better they can see in dim light. On dark nights, do you sometimes wonder what an animal is caught fleeting in the headlights? Different animals have different eye shine colors. Next time you go for a car ride at night, especially on a less busy road, see if you can detect different colors of eye shine. You could keep a written list of animals you identify by their eye shine color. The chart below lists some of the common animals and their colors of their reflected eye shine. And this is really why I picked this out, is because of this little chart and stuff they provided and stuff. So like dogs and cats, usually, this can change depending on light angles and different shades of light that you're using. But this is based off of white lights. So if you're using a white light or a car halogen light, this is what this is based off of. All right, so dogs and cats are usually green. Mountain lions and coyotes can be green or gold. Deer are usually yellow and under different light spectrums. I've also seen them glow green. Deer, yellow, possum, dull orangish. Raccoons are yellowish. Black-tailed jackrabbits are red. Skunks are amberish color, and foxes are usually white colored. Of course, this does change if you're using like a red light and stuff. This will change the color spectrums that is going to be reflected based off the color light that you use. Like my red lights that I use, most of the time, from every animal that I've ever seen, will bounce back a reddish color, and it kind of looks like laser lights. And we'll give like some examples and stuff. And also, if you used like a psionics colored night vision and stuff with an IR light, I wonder exactly how the eye shine would show up on that, if it would reflect the color charts that you would normally see online, or if it would be something else. And I do have an example of that we can show here in a minute. So the rest of this stuff kind of talks some more about animals and the flow of stuff. So like nocturnals, nighttime is the right time. At night, we humans sometimes feel nervous because our good imaginations feel in for our lack of vision in the dark. Every thump or rustling in the bushes starts our hearts racing as we imagine unseen dangers all around us, or creepy Bigfoots, waiting to smack you down and devour you and stuff, right? Or whatever you want to think. For many animals, night is just the opposite. Nighttime is when they enjoy working and playing. With keen senses of hearing, touch, smell, and nighttime vision, nocturnal animals feel most comfortable between sundown and sunup. All right, the night crew. Bats and their ultra keen hearing are important parts of the nighttime crew of insects eating in Colorado. Some nocturnal animals use the same space and eat the same food as daytime diurnal animals. They just switch work hours. So again, this talks about really nothing that really pertains to Bigfoot and stuff. Although animals feel safer at night, more comfortable, avoiding people at night. Some animals seem to be more active at night only if they live near people, like some black bears, rabbits, otters, which switch their eating and busy times from day to night when they want to avoid humans, which could be a possibility for Sasquatch. We're also going to dive into some of the ape family and evolution and to see if what exactly they have evolved with. So nighttime is actually not so scary for animals and stuff. It's basically, especially if you have nocturnal vision and all these other keen senses that more heightened at nighttime. The darkness isn't a detriment and stuff. And in fact, with Sasquatch, I would theorize and spec, more humans are out during the day, more chances to be seen, be caught. Of course, at nighttime, there's hardly anyone out, right? So everyone's in bed at 10 o'clock, flipping through the TV or asleep, and they're not roaming the countryside like they were just 100 years ago, 200 years ago, gathering firewood and resources, guarding the property, and even beyond that, of course. People were active at night doing all sorts of stuff. All right, so here's some examples of what is going on in the eyeballs and stuff. Animals' eyes are lined with inside with tiny parts or cells called rods and cones, which are up here. These rods and cones. You can look at the daytime creatures, rods and cones, versus the nighttime creatures, and we'll expand on that with different articles. Cones work in the bright light of day to detect color and details. Rods work in the dim light to signal shape and motion in shades of gray. Nocturnal animals' eyes have few or no cones, as we can see up here. How the cones would be smaller and not as many developed. Few or no cones, but they are loaded with rods, giving them great night vision. Human eyes have more cones than rods, so we see best in the daylight. Our ability to see color and details in bright light doesn't help at night. In fact, the opposite would be true. After dark, we see objects best when we look to the side of them rather than straight at things, because there is more rods at the side of our eyes. So the next time you want to see something at nighttime, try looking off to the side, which is pretty interesting because that is true. I can remember plenty of times where looking at through your side of your provisions and stuff is more helpful. And it is also part of catching motion and stuff, which is what the rods are for, as we just read. Helps for motion detection and stuff, which we do see that out of your peripheral vision, seeing something out of your peripheral vision, right? So here's an easy eye test and stuff. We'll actually read another article. To test your cones and rods in the dark. Choose a completely dark but safe place to test your night vision. You need a buddy, index card, or other pieces of paper, a bag of colored markers. Sit in the dark for at least 30 minutes before you do the test. This is a good time to listen to night noises and try to guess what you are hearing. Crickets are active in the fall. All right. After your half-hour wait, sit 8 to 10 feet across from your buddy and take one of the markers out of the bag. Write the color you think is on the back of one of the cards. On the front side, draw a shape such as a circle, a triangle, or square, and color in with the marker. Hold up the card so your buddy can guess the shape and color that you drew. Write down buddy's guesses on the front of the card. Here's some examples, right? Take turns between the drawer and the guesser until you have each used several markers, then go inside and see how you did. Were you and your buddy's eyes better at seeing colors or shapes in the dark? Which part of your eyes are working best, your rods or your cones? Well, we know that it would be the rods, the cones. The cones are for the daytime, rods are for the nighttime. So that's just a little basic little article on basically what is going on. And you do also have the rods, the cones, and the lucidum mirror-like reflective tissue. All right, now let me get into show how we can see in the darkness before we jump into the more Bigfoot stuff. And this might maybe help you see in the dark better, right? And this is how to see at night. How do we see in the dark? Our vision range is varying, and light conditions comes from three parts of our eyes: the pupil. The eye, in many ways, is like a camera. The camera aperture is the part that expands and contracts to let more or less light in, or more or less light. The pupil works in a similar fashion. It will get very small and bright light to physically block the amount of light reaching the retina, and will open wide in darkness. Shine a flashlight at someone's eyes and you will see this process in action. I'm sure most people have seen that and done. Rods and cone cells. Our eyes use two different types of cells to see light: rods and cones. The cone cells perceive fine detail and color, but need bright light in order to do so. Rod cells can only see black and white and have poor resolution, but remain sensitive even in very low light. A white barely seen by the rods must be increased in brightness 1,000 times before the cones can pick it up. Photopigments. Both rods and cones contain light-sensitive chemicals called photopigments. When exposed to light, photopigments go through a chemical reaction that converts light energy into electrical activity our brains know how to interpret. Rhodiospin is, I'm probably bombing that one, is the photopigment used by the rods and is the key to night vision. Intense light causes these pigments to decompose, reducing sensitivity to dim light. Darkness causes the molecules to regenerate in a process called dark adaptation, in which the eyes adjust to see in low light conditions. Of course, this is preparing your eyes to see in the dark. It's actually much faster for our eyes to adapt to bright light than to adjust for darkness. Cones attain maximum sensitivity in 5 to 7 minutes, while rods require 30 to 45 minutes or more of absolute darkness to obtain 80% dark adaptation. Total dark adaptation can take many hours. If you like to speed up the process, here's a few tips. Wear sunglasses. A few hours of exposure to bright light can reduce your ability to adjust to darkness by 10 minutes, and 10 days of exposure can cause a 50% loss of night vision. So, which begs the question, if Sasquatches, are both nocturnal and diurnal and stuff, or more nocturnal, how much exposure to bright light and stuff is going to affect their night vision? Or are they just completely set up differently? Let's continue to read, and then we're also going to look at other primates and stuff and how primates see color and their nighttime visions and stuff. Be sure to wear glasses with gray tint to black out entire visible spectrums, and the darker the lens, the better. Wearing red tinted glasses for 20 to 30 minutes before Give me a second. Okay. Before 20 to 30 minutes before going into low light will help, as well as since rod cells don't pick up the color red. This is the trick aviators use before night flying. Lower the brightness in your computer screen, avoid looking directly at the lights. Of course, sit out there and let your eyes adjust to the darkness before going bumping into the dark area, or before going into the dark area and risking bumping into something like Bigfoot. Close your eyes and cover them for a while to let them adapt. So it is pretty interesting that if you want to get better, give me a second. All right. It is very interesting that if you wanted to see better at nighttime, then, limiting or wearing glasses for a couple days and stuff will actually increase your night vision by a significant percentage and stuff, especially if 10 days of exposure causes 50% loss of night vision. There are some tricks and stuff to use to help maybe help you see at nighttime a little bit better, feel a little bit more confident when you're out there instead of walking around like a toddler. All right. Now, we are going to read from this one. And this is primate color vision. Can you see that all right? I hope the audio was working. No one said anything about it not working, so hopefully it is going good. Otherwise, this would be a pain. But it did work on my end, so I'm sure it's all right. Primate color vision. Vision among vertebrates is a result of having specialized light receptors structures known as rods and cones, which we've read about. At the back of the eye and retina, of course, rods are extremely sensitive to even dim light, but provide relatively coarse, colorless images. Cones provide the sharpest images and are responsible for the ability to see color, but they only function effectively when the light is bright. Consequently, all vertebrates are more or less blind to color in the dark at night. They may be able to see the faint light of the moon, but color differentiation is reduced as it becomes darker until the world essentially seems to be in shades of black and white. This is easy to demonstrate for yourself. During the daytime, pick a well-lit area with only natural light and observe the colors. Return again when it's dark at night to look at the same scene. This difference is particularly easy to see when you're looking at a dark green, blue, gray, or silver cars. At night, they are usually much more difficult to look at the same scene. This difference is particularly easy. This is usually much more difficult to distinguish. Jumped, skipped, and hopped around on that. Different types of cones are tuned to different proportions of the narrow visible spectrum of electromagnetic radiation through the illustration below of the light spectrum and the visible spectrum of light. Near the surface of the cones are light-sensitive proteins, pigments called opsins. These are encoded by 29 genes on the X chromosomes of humans. The opsomes in different cones are sensitive to different wavelengths of light. Colors are identified by the brain based on the responses from different opsomes. And I'm probably butchering that. I probably should have looked how to pronounce that better, but I had a incredible busy night, stayed up very late. The key to color vision is the ability to differentiate different wavelengths differentiate between different wavelengths. Most mammals have only two kinds of opsins. These are normally sensitive to short and middle wavelength light that includes blues and greens. Having this form of limited color vision capability is known as dichromancy, literally two colors. Most birds have far better color vision, being able to see not only blues and greens, but also reds, long wavelength light, and also ultraviolet wavelengths, which is shorter than those of the visible spectrum. Some bees and insects also see ultra. Okay, that just skip around as we actually talk about primates and their colors. All right. There are considerable variations between primates in terms of the ability to see colors. The best color vision exists in diurnal species, which is daytime species. This is not surprising. Color sensitive cones, which sensitive cones would be of very little use to nocturnal primates due to the fact that they require relatively bright light of the daytime to detect color. Humans, apes, and most of, if not all, of the old world monkeys are trichromatic. Trichromatic literally means three colors. They have three different kinds of opsins in their cones, which allows them to discriminate between blues, greens, and reds. In contrast, prosimians, such as lemurs and lorises, have relatively poor color vision, being dichromatic or dichromatic. They can differentiate between blues and greens, but not reds. Color vision among new primates species is surprisingly variable. Some of which means South American New World species, North American, where there's no North American apes, but besides maybe Bigfoot. New World species is South American primates. Old World is everything else. Some of them are dichromatic and others are trichromatic. Most females in some species can distinguish reds, but no males can. This is the case for moropsets, tamarins, squirrel monkeys, and spider monkeys. All males of these species only see blues and greens. About 40% of the females apparently are also dichromatic, but the other 60% are trichromatic. Both male and female howler monkeys are trichromatic. At the other extreme, the nocturnal owl monkeys are monochromatic, one color. They only see black and white and intermediate grays. A rare genetic disorder in humans known as achromancy causes a similar inability to see colors due to defective cones, which would bring into an interesting thing is what about Bigfoot? You know, where did they fall in? Are they trichromatic, dichromatic, or monochromatic, or do they have a variation in the population of females on one spectrum, males on some other spectrums? I think as we're about to read that the color blindness issue, when you have the different variations of these different kinds of views, if you're seeing blues and greens and reds, or only blues and greens, or the black and whites and stuff. So, this is where does nighttime vision, nocturnal vision, or nighttime vision with Bigfoot, do they see more? We do know that, of course, color and nighttime nocturnal vision kind of don't mesh and mesh. They're kind of at the opposite ends of the spectrums with rods and cones. But as we are going to actually read and stuff, there are actually new findings in different species of primates that, kind of breaking some of these barriers. All right, so here are some examples of the trichromatic view of the blues, greens, and reds, the dichromatic view of only blues and greens in the monochromatic view. All right, it is generally assumed that the ancestors of all monkeys were simians who were monochromatic or dichromatic. The old and new world monkeys became separated about 30 to 40 million years ago and have been traveling down their own evolutionary track since then. It is likely that mutations in the X chromosome gene or genes that provide the ability to see red colors occurred after the separation, given that trichromancy occurs in both the new and old worlds. It is probable that the mutation for it occurred more than once. However, the switch to trichromancy was clearly more complete among old world monkeys than new world ones. Natural selection may very be likely for this, responsible for the difference. What in primate environments strongly select for the ability to see red colors? Several researchers have proposed hypotheses about the nature of this selective pressure. Andrew Smith of the University of Stirling in Scotland believes that trichromancy provides an important advantage for fruit-eating species. It can be a valuable aid in determining when fruit is ripe. It is also makes it easier to find orange-red fruit against the backdrop of green forest foliage. Dichromatic monkeys are like colorblind humans in that they have very difficult distinguishing visually between green and ripe fruit. While this hypothesis sounds plausible, it may not provide a complete answer because many trichromatic monkeys and the apes predominantly eat leaves. Once again, color may be a valuable clue for such species since the macarons I'm butchering that for some reason, use this as a clue to finding the most desirable leaves to eat. Whether the food is fruit or leaves, the ability to see reds would make it easier to pick out food targets in a green vegetation background on the very different hypothesis that has been proposed by Emily Lehman of the University of Southern California. She links trichromancy to the fact that when females of some old world monkeys and ape species are in uterus, they develop reddish sexual skins or swellings. The male ability to see these reds would presumably liaison to the importance of the relatively poor senses of smell in detecting female pheromones. About 6 to 8% of humans today are red-green colorblind. Most of them are men. This X-linked inherit condition, also known as deuteranomaly, is due to the opson's pigments that are normally sensitive to green light behaving more like red sensitive ones. This results in difficulty distinguishing between colors in the red and green wavelength ranges. However, people with this condition are at an advantage in distinguishing slight variations in Kanaki colors. This could have been a benefit in the dry grasslands environments of East and South Africa where humans first evolved. It is important to keep in mind that the visual images that our eyes send to our brains are interpreted in a way that makes sense to us based on our past experiences. In a very real sense, our brains reinterpret what reality is. That version of reality can be deceptive. The video below provides several examples of additional complexity to understanding vision. And so we have more articles and stuff which we could get into, but I want to switch over to some other stuff. So is Bigfoot colorblind? Where exactly do they fall on the spectrum and stuff? And I do have to plug in my computer. So give me 1 minute to do that. And then we will jump into the next article that dives into a little bit more specialized things that they're finding with color and nocturnal night vision and stuff, because they don't mesh well and stuff, as the two different rods and cones are working differently and take different environments to work like they should. So give me 1 second. I'll be right back. All right. All right. Now let's see. I want to make sure I do kind of the articles kind of, they kind of seem to mesh together and stuff. I think it's going to be this one or this one. Okay, that is that one. Let me do probably the owl monkey. And the whole premise is to show and some of the different examples of how apes have different. Not only apes and stuff actually have flip flopped on being nocturnal and having their eyes evolve to be nocturnal or diurnal, and actually have flip flopped many times. Actually, different species have, depending on the environmental pressures and what's actually going on. How exactly did Bigfoot evolve and stuff? In our, as we're going to give some more examples, are they limited to black and white night vision color? Are they able to see some sort of colors with examples from different species that scientists are beginning to understand better? And we're going to read this. Give me 1 second. Yeah. All right. And so let's pop up and read about the owl monkey and how they evolved. And right here. All right. So this is a 2009 article, a little bit old, but still very interesting, I think. In the forests of South America lives the unusual but aptly named owl monkey, or owl monkey. So you could probably guess by looking at this large round eyes here on the left, compared to a capucin monkey right there. By looking at its round eyes, that it's nocturnal, right? And that does bear extremely similar examples to Bigfoot reportedly having huge eyes, and not only eyes but eye sockets and stuff, which will, as we'll read, help ship dim light into the eyeballs and into the rods. Indeed, it is the only. All right, so judging by its large round eyes, that you can tell it's nocturnal, and indeed, it is the only monkey to be mostly active at night, but its eyes have many adaptations for such a lifestyle beyond a large size. And you can see the adaptation of those eyes compared to this. But as we are about to learn, these adaptations actually didn't take too long. All right, so the owl monkeys, right here, the owl monkey's retinas are 50% larger than those of a day-living monkey of similar size, like the brown capuchin. Yeah, I'm butchering the crap out of that. It's it was just on my tongue too. Capuchulin. No. Anyways, I don't want to get bogged down in that. The proportions of different cells in the retinas are also different. Owl monkeys have relatively few cone cells, which are better for daytime use, as we've read, and which are responsible for color vision, and fewer ganglion cells, which process it is not ganglion, it's ganglion cells, which process the signals from the cones. In contrast, they have many more rod cells, which are far more sensitive than cones and function best in low light. The rod bipolar cells, which transmit signals from the rods. This is an eye that has sacrificed sharpness and color for sensitivity. Nocturnal mammals the world over have developed a very similar suite of adaptations, according to Michael Dyer and Rodrigo Martins. These may be easier to evolve than you might think, which might be interesting when applied to Sasquatch. All of the cells in the retina are produced by a small group of stem cells called retinal progenitors cells, or RPCS. As an embryo grows, its RPCS goes through cycles of division, still maintaining their stemness. At some point, they leave this cycle and commit to becoming one of the various types of retinal cells. The fate they choose depends on when they leave the cycle, which is a key component right here. Those that are born early turn into cells that are important to daylight vision, such as cones and ganglions. Those that exit late become cells that play a greater role in night vision, including rods and their bipolar cells. This quirk of an organization means that the retina cells are always produced in a very specific order, with those that grant good night vision cells appearing later. The upshot is that the owl monkey has been able to adapt its retinas to see in the dark simply by tweaking the timing of its development. In the retinas, more RPCs are committed to a particular fate later in the cycle, producing fewer of the earlier types of cells and many more of the later ones. The result, an extra sensitive retina with the complement of cells perfectly suited for nocturnal living, all triggered by a single change during development. The eye of the owl monkey hammered home for an increasingly familiar message. You can get big results by very subtly tweaking the way that the body develops without any need for large-scale tinkering. Even the eye, an exceptionally complex organ, can be altered in a coordinated way simply by shifting the timing of its development. It's why the owl monkey, in a relatively short space of evolutionary time, has converted the daylight-loving eyes of its ancestors into a nocturnal mottle, which is very interesting because that simply by changing when those RPCs commit and come out of their cycle to produce more cones and rods doesn't need a huge millions and millions and millions and millions of years of adaptation to tweak it. Well, I think you still need a couple million, but I think they say how much this was. The owl monkeys did it. More and more evolutionary biologists are discovering examples where evolution has squeezed out a tremendous amount of variation by tinkering with the timing of development. For example, snakes have hundreds of vertebrae, while mice just have 50 and humans just have 33. Each vertebra is formed by the embryonic structure called a semite, and there's an internal clock that governs how many of these semites are formed. In snake embryos, this clock ticks into overdrive so that it develops a hefty collection of smaller semites. Semoids, I'm probably butchering that too. That leads to more vertebrates. Owl monkeys' super sensitive retinas are just another example of this phenomenon, of this timing tweak of already existing structures in place that you don't need thousands of millions of years to do. You just need the timing tweak of what's already there, which is very interesting. And again, this article is actually quite a few years old. So, but again, reading this and stuff, I thought it was very relevant, and the possibilities that, you know, what is actually going on as we actually lead to more different examples to get a better understanding of color and night vision in primates. Dyer and Martins from the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital in Memphis studied the RPCs of owl monkey and capricorn. I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, and it's bugging me. Fritos and their retina developed. They kept an eye on these cells using a mildly radioactive chemical called bromodiazine uridine. Big words, you know. Which gets incorporated into the DNA of dividing cells. This marker revealed that an owl monkey's RPCs start producing the variation of cells in its retinas much later and over a shorter period of time than those of its cousin species, the capricorns. This delay means that the owl monkey produces fewer of the earliest cells in the sequence and more of the later types, including the rods, that are vital for night vision. And of course, here we have the cell cycle of the birth date and how you can see the different patterns of development that happens compared to that. So the shift in timing could well explain another feature of owl monkey's eyes that sets it apart from other monkeys and apes. It lacks a fovea, a spot at the center of the human retina where our vision is sharpness, which this is very interesting too. Is if based on this evolutionary of the owl monkey, or, you know, if Bigfoot is a great ape, and not woo and other things like that, and it evolved to the same structures that we see in other examples from ape species, then this right here is going to be one of these questions, like, well, if they have really good night vision, then how sharp is it and stuff, and what are the pros and cons? What are they By having supreme night vision, which we assume and think they do based on my own experiences of being ran around in circles by them, it seems like they can see at nighttime pretty dang well. But what is the cost of having supreme night vision, right? All right, so it lacks a phobia, a spot at the center of the human retinas where our vision is sharpest, where the cone cells are abundant and where rod cells are virtually absent. But as owl monkey retinas develop, its dearth of cones and its surplus of rods mean that this focal point never forms. Indeed, the owl monkey has very little need for a phobia. Acute. It's a minor issue when one has to worry about sensing any light at all. So you're sacrificing sharpness and resolution, like we've read before, for better light reflectability through your eyes to see in those absent light conditions. Owl monkeys evolved from the diurnal ancestors 15 million years ago. During this relatively short time, it has developed most of these adaptations other nocturnal animals have. Its eyes become bigger. It has lost the third cone cell that other monkeys and apes use to detect light at the red end of the spectrum. But all of its other adaptations, more rods, fewer cones, no phobia, could well be the result of a simple change to its development, instead of offshooting many different other monkey species to develop such a structure and different things. Just a simple tweak of timing. But where does Bigfoot, fall into the evolutionary tree and stuff? Because we can track a lot of different things back and where their ancestors evolved from and diverged from other ape species and stuff. So again, where is Bigfoot falling into this if they are a natural part of this order? All right, so it is a wonderful, elegant system because it means that the proportions of all types of cells in the retina can be adjusted in a coordinated way. Both point out that the alternative explanation that the fate of each type of cell is controlled individually isn't ruled out by their work, but it is an unlikely and rather cumbersome possibility. But why should the retina development go through such an orderly sequence where diurnal and nocturnal features are so conveniently grouped? Some will no doubt choose to read too much into this, but Dryers and Martins think that the advantages of such organization are not hard to discern. All primates, owl monkeys included, come from a long line of animals that have crossed over from that diurnal to nocturnal living and back again many times over. This ecological flip-flopping would have filtered out programmes of development that make it easier to cross between the two ways of life. So this programming would produce cells that are relative to each one that at different times, and ensure that boosting one group downplays the other. Exactly the system found in mammalian retinas. So our eyes and primates' eyes are pretty interesting and stuff. And we've, like I said, this flip-flopping and stuff. But what if, is there any examples of going back and forth in the diurnal nocturnal with our eyes and stuff? And are we able to, or are primates, different examples of primates, able to go back and forth and operate in both the nocturnal and diurnal environments? I think we are about to read from another article. that I think says talks about this actually. Let me kind of skim over this because and I do have some examples of eye shine of potential Bigfoot that I got in Florida. We do have examples of potential eye shine caught up in the UP with Jason Kenzie, and we will show some examples of that. All right, let's read this one then. And I know this might be boring for some people and stuff. This is a lot of different information of examples and structures and evolutionary traits of other primate species, because ape species and stuff, monkeys and some of these stuff are not primates, they're apes. Just shows that we do already have some structures in place just to show examples that some apes do have nocturnal evolutionary traits, and even a simple tweaking and stuff caused by an evolutionary pressure, say humans hunting megafauna to the brink of extinction and stuff, causing some ape species to go nocturnal or maybe evolve to be able to do a little bit of both. All right. All right. So this is things that go booing in the night. As the sun sets in the forest of Madagascar, the lively hum of insects, birds, reptiles, and lemurs ebbs into the quiet. Night falls, and a new world begins to emerge in the darkness. The chorus of frogs, the rattle of tenrec spines, and the whisper of moon moths' wings fill the night. In the trees, pairs of eyes seem to glow in the moonlight. The nocturnal lemurs of Madagascar are wonderfully mysterious and difficult to observe in the wild, but they make up more than 60% of total lemur species, from the world's smallest primate, Madame Berth's mouse lemur, to the world's largest nocturnal primate, the ii. These in which we actually do have an article on the ii, which is very interesting. I was just going to say that, I have heard some speculation of, Bigfoot coming from a potential lemur species or lemur looking Bigfoots with tails kind of reported up in Alaska and stuff. And there's some tailed, hairy humanoids legends from those regions and stuff. They also have Otter Man and stuff like that up there too, but it's very interesting and stuff how lemurs developed, as we're about to read. From the world's largest, the ii, these incredible creatures are worth staying up late for. Out of approximately 600 recognized species of primate on the Earth, only a very small percentage are nocturnal. The majority of nocturnal primates species belong to the strepsirrhine suborder. I'm just butchering the crap out of it. Which include lemurs, lorises, bush babies, the Habidoran suborder, which includes Tarisers. That's not right. I know that's not right. It is not pronounce how it is spelled. Oh, that's bugging me. Monkeys, apes, and humans. The only two nocturnal members. The tarsier. I'm gonna look that up because that is bugging the crap out of me. Because I know I am butchering it, and it's one of those things that it is bugging me. Tarsiers. And the owl monkey, sometimes called the night monkey. All bush babies in lower species are nocturnal, but the lemur superfamily has both nocturnal and diurnal members, a very unique quality among primates, potentially Bigfoot. I don't know. This is all speculation and stuff because we don't have a body. We really don't know. We have no hours and hours of observational research done we can actually determine what's going on, right? And unfortunately, we might need to dissect stuff to really understand scientifically what's actually going on internally, which I know people don't want to hear, but at the same time. Around 66% of the current recognized lemur species are classified as nocturnal, but only 20% are diurnal. Another 14% belong to a less common category, cathmeral. Cathmeralism is a rare active pattern which occurs almost exclusively in lemurs. These lemurs can switch between nocturnal and diurnal activity, which usually depends on seasonal food availability. With such a wide range of activity patterns, lemurs are certainly unique among primates. And I know most of these lemur species that are nocturnal are incredibly small, but the fact that we do actually have a super rare example of both nocturnal and diurnal activities in a ape species that we can do both is an example that there are in fact evolutionary traits that millions and millions and millions of years ago evolved from supposedly the missing link, right? All of this stuff came from a dwindled down from one little thing, right? But just how evolved and stuff are Bigfoot compared to, of course, these lemur species, and of course everywhere else. I think most people who would say if it was an ape and stuff, probably most likely, its evolutionary pattern of track would be much different than lemurs, being completely different continents and different species, different sizes, but it's there, right? We do have an example of this in primate species, which I found very incredible and why I wanted to share this article. So let's read that again. Around 66% of the concurrent recognized lemur species are classified as nocturnal, but only 20% are diurnal. Another 14% belong to the less common category of, which I'm probably butchering that, cathmeralism is a rare activity pattern which occurs almost exclusively in lemurs. I wonder what the other non-exclusive one is. These lemurs can switch between nocturnal and diurnal activity, usually depending on seasonal food. With such a wide range of activity patterns, of course, they are very unique. Within the lemur superfamily, 3 out of the 5 lemur families are strictly nocturnal. There are around 40 known species. It's just talking about different species that fall into the most nocturnal. Most nocturnal lemurs are on the smaller side, ranging from 3 inches long, mouse lemurs, to up to 17 inches long, the ii. Ii is right there. So they're very small primates compared to obviously a Bigfoot. So it is definitely a huge leap from Madagascar lemurs to North American potential primates. Even New World species of primates are much different than lemurs. All right. Other nocturnal primates like lorises, bush babies, and owl monkeys, which are smaller than their diurnal relatives. While they are very drastically may vary drastically in size, many nocturnal primates share a suite of characteristics to help them succeed after sundown. The characteristics that help a nocturnal lemur succeed compared to a diurnal one are really, well, like night and day. Whereas the daylight hours are more difficult to hide and easier to forage in, the dark brings a whole new set of predators and foraging challenges for nocturnal species. One common similarity we see in nocturnal animals is enhanced sensory intake. Usually obvious in the size of the structure of their eyes, the glowing eyes that can be witnessed on a night walk in Madagascar are simply the reflective layers of tissue called the tatum lucidum, an adaptation that increases the visual sensitivity in low light conditions. While these primates can't see in the dark, they do have better night vision than their diurnal relatives. Some nocturnal primates, like the tarsiers, have enlarged eyes and eye sockets to absorb even more light. Potentially like Bigfoot, bigger eyes and eye sockets to absorb light. And they might not even have to be fully nocturnal. As simply a larger tatum and lucidum can produce glowing eyes. So these glowing eyes in the dark, potentially are not self-illuminating. They are simply enlarged tatums, lucidums that are in combination of different rods and rod sizes, but mostly it is this layer, this mirror-like layer, the tatum lucidum, that is going to bounce light off of it and then back out of the eyes, which gives that glowing eyes representation that a lot of people have seen, and which you can see without a flashlight in Madagascar and in lemurs. And so lemurs are not having glowing eyes that are self-illuminating, right? They just have it is the reflective tissue, which all nocturnal animals or animals that are able to see at night better have that. Owls have this. All nighttime nocturnal animals have this and stuff. And when you see the eye shine and stuff, it is reshining off of that mirror. The self-glowing eyes that we could simply see is just enough light in such low light conditions in a Bigfoot that it is bouncing off of the tatum lucidum, and it reflects even that you don't see. There's no moonlight or there's no nothing. Maybe ambient starlight is enough to bounce off of the reflective mirror layer tissue and make it seem like they're glowing colored eyes. And of course, I know there's a lot of reports of red eye shine and stuff, and different colored eye shine with Bigfoot. Potentially depending on exactly how their colored vision is, or the intensity of the light, the angle of the light, and could produce different colors and stuff. I know there's some theories that Bigfoot can produce different colors of eye shine glow on command, which again, it falls into the woo spectrum of things. But if you're looking at natural moonlight or natural starlight, ambient lights and stuff, you would think there would be one generalized color like what we have with other animals where you could shine white light and it would always be whatever color. But there are different reports of different eye shine colors with relatively seems like the same white light or moonlight or starlight. So I have no idea why Bigfoot eyes are glowing red, and sometimes they are reported different colors, but it is very interesting nonetheless that simply put, is I don't think it's glowing eyes and stuff unless, there's a lot more woo stuff going on. But such a massive eyeball that could be adapted to nocturnal vision or even both, where it can adapt to kind of both. And its dark adaptation, where its light, its eyes and retinas has to adjust to the darkness, that might take significantly less, and it might even change the way the whole eye operates and stuff in the daytime versus the night based on the structures and how it's evolved. We don't have any examples of that, but humans, even though we're diurnal, our eyes do adjust to dark adaptation at nighttime, so we then can see a little bit better at nighttime. Lemurs species, for the example that we literally just read, do have examples of doing that same sort of thing, but better than what we do. So if Bigfoot's eyes can do that better than humans, but are not necessarily nocturnal, or maybe they are, and they do have the mirror-like structures, and they do have better rods than cones. How does that affect color vision during the nighttime? Because again, what we've seen is you can have one or the other, but you can't really have both sharp resolution and color along with true nocturnal vision with color and sharpness. Usually you are sacrificing something for something else. All right, so while these primates can't see in the dark, they do have better night vision than their diurnal relatives, which could be it. The glowing eyes could be developed more in Sasquatch, but is still not nocturnal classification, but it still has better night vision than humans, right? And it still has a bigger reflective tatum mirror layer that would make it glow. And it still wouldn't technically be nocturnal. So again, where do they fit on the spectrum and stuff? And if they weren't truly nocturnal, they would have better eyesight during the day for better color and sharpness. So what exactly are we dealing with when we're dealing with Sasquatch that's in the daytime versus the nighttime? Are they colorblind? Do they have harder time seeing in the daytime? Or are they not as nocturnal as we are assuming? I personally think they can see definitely and walk around you in circles at nighttime. So, all right. Another very interesting thing about most of these lemur species is that, it's most of these eyes, like the Taishars, eyeball is bigger than its brain. Many nocturnal primates also have larger ears to assist with insect foraging, which, of course, primates or Sasquatch doesn't have ears and stuff for that. So again, large ears are a good adaptation for nocturnal living. So again, it's a little bit of they're not evolving this. Anyways, hold that thought. Have larger ears, particularly the bush baby, which is an independently mobile eels, which that move like satellite dishes to pick up the sound more easily. Nocturnal lemurs are also extremely fast, both to avoid night predators and to better hunt their insect prey from day to night and in between. The primate family is incredibly diverse, especially when it comes to the lemurs, which, while it can be challenging to conduct research on these fun-sized denizens of the dark, they are continually learning more about nocturnal lemurs and their incredible adaptations of life without light. All right, there is that, which is very interesting stuff. So at least we do have examples of an ape species, a primate species of both nocturnal and diurnal, even though it's super rare. Structures are in place. We do see that there could be some such adaptations. If the dark adaptation of the Sasquatch eyeball is able to adapt from bright light daytime conditions to a nocturnal activity and stuff, and that could be better explained. Maybe it has better adaptations for adjusting to the dark better than what we see in different species or in humans. So again, you can see glowing colored eyes in Madagascar from the lemurs with no lights, and it is simply the reflective ambient glow of the stars of the moon. Or even if there appears to be no light and a cloudy sky and stuff, there is still ambient light that is filtering through the forest and potentially reflecting back off of the mirror-like reflective layer called the tatum lucidum. So if Sasquatch has big old eyeballs, which we see, and those big old eyeballs that go black, collecting more light and stuff, it can maybe go back to pinpoint size to adjust to bright light. Maybe why we see activity both nighttime and daytime from these creatures, and it doesn't seem to hinder their ability to come up close to us, to sneak away from us, to still do the shenanigans that they do, throw rocks at us, make vocalizations, and feel confident enough in their ability to, even with hunters, that they can get away from the hunter during the daytime. They can mess with the hunter who has a gun, and at daytime as well as nighttime, which means that their vision and stuff isn't hindered, may possibly as much as other species of only nocturnal animals or only diurnal animals trying to do different activities that they're not quite evolved for. So that's why it's very interesting. Maybe it's evolved a bit of both, because it seems to have had activity in wood knocks happen during the daytime. And certainly has stuff happen at nighttime, which seems to be more. But is that because humans are not active at nighttime, so they are active at nighttime? Or have they already evolved before contact with humans? Do their evolutionary traits show that? Potentially if there's a body, it's all discovered, and years down the line, we can finally discover, this ape species has evolutionary traits, blah, 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 based on this. And then, of course, when humans and them got in conflict, came together, this species evolved to be more nighttime because humans are diurnal species and stuff like that. But they are able to do activity in both nocturnal and diurnal time frames. So that was we were on the last article. And I appreciate everyone who's stayed with us, listened to this. Hopefully it sounds good on your end. Hopefully it's not too choppy, buffering up. The simple answer is we don't know if Bigfoot. We don't know, because we don't have observational research done. We don't have a body to dissect. We don't have any hypothesis that we can actually test in real time. Now, I will show an example where I try to test something in real time, what I thought we were encountering a Bigfoot. And I'll go into that and show some examples. Let's read this last article, which I find very fascinating and very relevant to this. And I'm sure we will understand why here in a second. It is 3 o'clock? Okay. Hour and 22 minutes. Not too bad. Again, this might not be you guys' cup of tea. It's a little bit different than what we are normally doing, but I was inspired by Relic coming in to kind of talk about this and do this. And I have done a little bit when I did come and produce the Florida Eye Shine video, I did produce a couple of videos before that talking about this animal eye shine, a little bit in primates and owls and other stuff, but this is a little bit more deep dive into primates and examples that we can maybe hypothesis from exactly what and how Bigfoot might have some similar capabilities. All right. This virtual reality tool gives viewers the vision of a nocturnal primate, which I thought was pretty interesting. All right, so researchers teamed up with a student-based tech lab to develop an interactive tool, virtual reality tool that gives users the entry into vision of another species, a tiny nocturnal primate with huge eyes that must catch prey in the dark. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. All right. Ba- 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 ba. All right, so the researchers at Dartmouth College teamed up with a student-based technology lab to develop the virtual reality entry. It's not just any species, a tiny nocturnal primate with the largest eyes relative to its body size of any living vertebrate. All right, so the created virtual reality VR learning tool is called Tarsier goggles. Tarsia or goggles, sorry, which enables the viewer to experience the visual system of a primate adapted to rainforest life in the dark, which is pretty interesting. All right. People texting me and stuff. All right. Tarsiers are the only living primate that feeds entirely on living prey, but they are active at night, so they must be able to detect and catch insects and other animals in the dark. The huge eyeballs are highly sensitive to light, but it cannot move in their sockets. Tarsiers make up for that by being able to turn their head 360 degrees. I don't know why I'm going 200, turn their head 360 degrees. Tarsiers' extremely large eyes are most likely related to the absence of the tatum lucidum, the mirror-like structure that results in eye shine, which is very interesting. So, writes the researchers in their recently published paper, most nocturnal vertebrates, such as cats or owls, have this light reflecting layer which facilitates seeing at night. Tarsiers live in the rainforests of Indonesia, Malaysia, and the Philippines. Leaping among branches at the night requires them to perceive bot branches and prey in pitch darkness, but doesn't prioritize color vision. And in fact, Bornean tarsiers have protopet, protopanopia. I'm butchering that. A form of red green color blindness. All right, so the researchers made the new VR software open access to give anyone with access to VR goggles a chance to explore the Tarsiers' vision firsthand. So if you got what is it, like the Quest 2, Quest 3 or something, that the meta stuff or different VR stuff, check it out. The self-guided experience allows users to toggle between human and Tarsier vision to compare the relative advantages of each in 3 different virtual learning environments: the Matrix, the Labyrinth, and the Bornean Rainforest. Environments stimulate, respectively, how Tarsier's vision differs from humans in terms of actual sharpness, color vision, and brightness. The users can move through these virtual environments like a tarsier does, leaping and clinging to trees, and what the author describes in their paper as a dark maze-like space that is practically oblique under human visual conditions, but navigable as a tarsier. All right, so the internal views of the tarsier goggles show perspectives under twilight conditions, revealing difference in visual sensitivity, brightness, acuity, and color discrimination between humans' vision on the left and the tarsier vision on the right. And we see this as better color and sharpness compared to what they're seeing, right? Humans have better color vision, but tarsiers would fare far better jumping through the matrix image below than obviously humans. You can see just how much different of a light spectrum the tarsiers are able to see compared to what humans are able to, again, navigate obstacles at nighttime, or for potentially Bigfoot navigating a forest at nighttime without getting smacked in the head at everything you run into, which is pretty sweet. So we based the simulation on tarsier vision on evidence from previous scientific research that investigated specific visual traits such as the protopia. Lead author Samuel Goochman told Manga Bay, in the case, we could represent that effect in the software because it is known that the tarsier species of focus has a form of red-green color blindness. I know this is a bunch of stuff before it gets to the real juicy part, but I think we're gonna skip the. They wanted to create a tool that could change how. I thought there's more stuff what they find right here, I think, or I have to pull up another article, but anyways, let me keep reading. They wanted to create a tool that could change how people perceive our world by experiencing how another species sees it. The resulting software product produces a virtual learning environment that stimulates the benefits of various ocular adaptations, such as having eyes with high density of rod photoreceptors cells, which are responsible for vision at low light levels. Tarsiers have more than 300,000 of these per square millimeter of eyes, where humans have roughly 176,000 per square millimeter. So how much does Bigfoot have? What's theirs? And they have a massive amount of eyeball size too, which could fit more stuff. Unfortunately, we just don't know because, well, we don't have any actual observation or scientific research data to show anything. The team decided on a virtual reality experience because it would be immersive and could be used as a teaching tool in a classroom setting, providing students with fun, interactive ways to explore the complex physiology and natural selection. For example, the tarsier's huge eyes, high density of rod photoreceptor cells, and high visual acuity sharpness combine to provide superior nighttime vision, which these tiny primates need to successfully catch insects and other live prey in the dark. Testing. This is not what let me. No, this isn't what I was reading. What I wanted to read. I thought there was something else in the end of this article. That sucks. But it is very interesting to show that normally when you have a nocturnal species and stuff, you're sacrificing that sharpness. Oh, it's this one. Duh. Okay. This was just the virtual reality link and stuff, and to show the different examples and potentially that why Bigfoot's adaptation for these more nocturnal adaptations and stuff would better be suited for forest environment than other environments, because you got to be able to see the obstacles you're actually running away in the forest at dark time. Trust me, it is very hard to run through a forest with branches and sticks and not getting your eye poked out or falling or impaling yourself or doing something, knocking yourself out. So it is very vital for a species who's active at nighttime to be able to see obstacles in front of them to be able to navigate better. All right, let's exit this one out and actually read the article that I thought was very interesting. Not that it wasn't, but it's not as, there's only a little bit of key information in there that relates to what we're trying to relate to Bigfoot, and whereas this one is more. And so this is, all right. And then we'll take questions. If there's questions, comments, concerns, or anything like that, let us know. Pretty much after this article, we got some running around to do. Got a lot of different stuff. I actually have to go and go check the auto recorder and get that back, set out more batteries so it records tonight. I actually could potentially show some audio and stuff after we read this stuff, but I actually got some very interesting stuff that I could show you that it's very interesting and stuff. So I'm got some pretty good interesting stuff. I'm not gonna say it's Bigfoot, but it's definitely a little abnormal from what I've been recording. All right, so let's read this. All right, this is the colored night vision in the eye. A quest to gain a more complex picture of color night vision evolution has led the Biodesign Institute researcher Brian Varelli to an up-close genetic encounter with one of the world's most rare and bizarre-looking primates. Varelli and his ASU team has performed the first sweeping study of color vision in the eye, a bushy-tailed Madagascar native primate with a unique combination of physical features, including extremely large eyes and ears, elongated fingers for the reaching of hard-to-access insects and other foods. Varelli lead author George Perry and collaborator Robert Martin's results, published in the journal Molecular Biology and Evolution, have led to some surprising conclusions on how this nocturnal primate may have retained colored vision function, which is very interesting, again, to show our examples of things that we keep finding that are definitely outliers than the norm evolutionary trait of what we see in different apes. Varelli's group focuses on color night vision to better understand genetic variation between human and other primate population and the truly big evolutionary question as to what makes us human. At least within humans and some other primates, we know that there are 3 different genes responsible for color vision, says Varelli. The gene called opsin comes the gene opsin come in three forms that shape our color vision palette. One for blue, another for green, and a third for red. What makes that very interesting is that the green and red are found on the X chromosome, sex chromosome, and that it is a mutation of one of these two genes alone, which is related to color blindness for 8 to 10% of the male population, which would be in the eyes, I'm guessing he's talking about. American Journal of Human Genetics by Varelli. In the 2004 study, the American Journal of Human Genetics by Varelli and his collaborator, Sarah Tiskoff of the University of Maryland, they suggested that natural genetic selection has provided women with a frequent ability to better distinguish between colors than men. I would have to say women are a lot better at picking out colors than men when it comes to painting or colors of anything, right? It comes from somewhere, I guess, right? These three genes may explain all the variation that we might see across human population and color vision, said Vernelli. But how did our range of color vision variation come to be in the first place? To help trace back the evolution of color vision, Varelli's collaborator Perry turned to the endangered eye, a primate representative of lemurs. These primates split from other groups, including humans, apes, and monkeys, more than 60 million years ago, and are thought to be in some way representative of the early primates that lived at that time. We chose the eye specifically because it has a very interesting behavior in that it is fully nocturnal. And so it raises an obvious and straightforward question. If you are an animal that lives at night, do you need color vision? The simple case of use it or lose it, the prevailing theory suggests that nocturnal primates cannot use color vision to see. And so the genes that they have for color vision accumulated mutations and degraded over evolutionary time is the prevailing theory. From a practical standpoint, studying color vision in the eye proved to be a daunting endeavor. Since the eye is an endangered species, attaining DNA samples in the wild was not possible. The group turned to a few international research institutions and colleges that have an eye to obtain DNA samples for their study. In all total, they obtained samples from 8 eyes for their study. It took a year and a half to analyze the samples, since Perry and Vernelli had to invent the methodology to perform the first wide-range genetic analysis on the eye. From a conservation, population, and functional viewpoint, it was the very first study of its kind, says Vernelli. The results his team found were so startling that they had to recheck them twice. When examining these genes in the eye, we realized they are not degrading, said Vernelli. In fact, for the green opsin gene, we did not find a single mutation in it. The opsin gene looks to be absolutely fully functional, which is completely counter to how we have believed color vision evolved in nocturnal mammals. The author plans to collaborate with others to perform herbial studies to see if the eye can respond to colors, and further molecular structure studies to identify the exact color absorption by the opsin proteins to see how this may differ from other primates that are not nocturnal. The study has not only proved important to understanding color vision evolution, but also has shown the value of examining the dazzling diversity of life, especially in endangered species. We not only need to focus on organisms that are relative to us and are common, but also organisms that are uncommon and endangered. For there are many more maybe for there may be behaviors and physical features that once they are lost, we may never understand, like potentially what Bigfoot's design is. It's going to be very unique and very on its own, genetically and evolutionary, right? The study was complete in collaboration with the Biodesign Institute for Evolutionary Functional Genomics, ASU's Schools of Life Science and School of Human Evolution and Social Change, and the Department of Anthrope. I am ready to be done reading. At the Field Museum of Chicago. So there is that they're finding different stuff. So we could go back and have more primates roots of the red-green, evolutionary of smells and full trichromatic color vision in primates. There's another article on the primate photopigments and primate color vision and stuff. So those are more articles that could read and stuff, but we are actually going to wind this show down because we have to get going and get some stuff and pick up some stuff and have to make sure we are in time before some stores close and stuff like that. So it's been a wild day last night. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this information to shed some light on, well, we really don't know, but we do know that scientists are finding different interesting structures, facts, and evolutionary standpoints in some of these ape species that potentially maybe Sasquatch has a little bit of this, maybe has some of that, maybe it's something brand new that we've never seen before, and scientists are just going to blow their mind for the amount of rods and cone ratios or how they actually operate together, the sharpness and resolution and color, and some type of nocturnal vision combined, like we see in some lemur species and what they're finding and stuff. So just goes to show we're still learning a bunch of stuff every single day. So in my opinion on some of these things that I'm going to show you right now, since I do have a little bit of time, I'm going to show you a picture that I have. I think I have the video. Maybe I don't have the video ready to go. We can play the video, but I'm going to show you the picture that I have. And this is of a Psionics night vision colored camera with an aftermarket IR light that is glowing purple, and that's why you have this purple hue right here. And right there, that red eye shine, right? See, that red eye glow that you see is the glowing of, and this is color night vision, but it is the IR light reflecting off of the tatum lucidum of whatever kind of creature that is, and it is appearing as red eye shine. So if I didn't have the colored night vision and I had a white light, what kind of color that would have shown, I'm not sure. Now in this situation and stuff, and if you watch this video, the video is something like Bigfoot red eye shine of Florida. It's a couple of years ago. It was from the 168 trip to Florida. And this is something that I caught. Let me see if I can get that video. And in the video, I notice it. And, thousands of thoughts are running in my head. But what I start doing with the camera is I start moving it back and forth and moving it off of the eye shine. and moving it back to see if the creature was reacting to the IR light. And in my opinion, it looked as though if when I shined the light back onto the creature that it ducked and hid away from the IR light, which is invisible light to humans, but potentially, we do know some animals can see the certain spectrum of IR lights, like 800 something millimeter, nanomillimeter, or millimeter IR light, or however, whatever the measurement is, versus 940 something or whatever it is, which is a different spectrum of IR light that is even harder to detect in animals and nocturnal animals and stuff. So we think some deer and other animals can see the basic, I can't remember the ranges right now. It's like 800 something nanometer IR light spectrum versus the 900 nanometer IR spectrum. Costs more to get those kind of lights. That's about it. So it appeared that this creature seen the 800 something nanometer aftermarket IR light that I was using and did react to it. So let me see if I can pull up this video, if I have it here or if I need to go somewhere to see it. And I do have examples of eye shine that's right here that we can show right now. And we see examples of the eye shine right there on the left side of right there, as we'll replay that again. It's going to be the left side of me and Jason. It goes over Jason's shoulder. Left side right there. You can see that it is appears to be a glowing light out there next to us. And we are not shining other than Jason's IR lights that are stock on the Sony 4K camcorder, stock IR lights on that. They didn't shine very far. Whatever is reflecting is enough light that is reflecting off of that tatum lucidum layer and is being picked up on the IR light. And then it's a big eyeball. That is not something that is small. That is right next to us. And that is something that is right there. And it's a big eyeball. And it's only one, which is very interesting. And of course, I actually turn, and I have a little headlamp, cheap one, turning right there. Don't see no eye reflection. We don't see nothing. Another example is when we're walking away from that spot, you see this one eyeball eye shine. And this was in just before Jason sees the Bigfoot individual standing up on the trail, get down on all fours and spider crawl across the trail. And you see Jason's, as he's filming himself, react as he's freaked out. That was, we had two that we had seen. There was a third one that flanked us, and you can hear me commenting. There's three of them. There's one over to the right, and it flanked us, went in front, and it was standing at the trail when Jason looked at it, crossed on all fours. But before that, we captured this eye shine as we walked up to the area. This is the spot where we seen two Bigfoot leaning out of the tree. We walked up to that spot. This is that spot. And over next to us is this big old eye shine that, we're right there. We're right in the spot where these two creatures were. And we don't hear them. We don't see them. This is when we're walking away. You'll see this eye shine right there. And we stop, and I'm looking right there at these broken little branches right there. And there's three of them. And we had walked up this trail to go get the recorder, and we walked back. There's three broken twigs right here where we're going to run into them with our head. We stopped. It's like this wasn't here. All of a sudden, we had the disturbance, and the encounter began moments after that, Jason starts filming, and you can watch that at Jason Kenzie and Blake Deutscher's Bigfoot Encounter of the Upper Peninsula. You can watch it in 4K on the YouTube channel right now. The eye shines are at 7 minutes and something seconds, 8 minutes and something seconds, and then this one is 10 minutes and 20 seconds, I believe. That's without the intro. That's the raw file that I have. Those times are on, so might be slightly different, but this is what we've seen, what we captured and stuff. Some examples of this glowing eye shine from suspense, from what I believe potentially a Sasquatch, including this. But more testing is needed. I don't have that color night vision. If I could do the same setup and start filming other animals and try to determine what color eye shine is going to be recorded off of that setup. Same exact setup, right? So, so that's really about it. I wanted to do a 2-hour show, talk about those different articles and the different evolutionary traits that we see in particularly the lemur species, and that there's a small percentage of the diurnal and nocturnal activities that these certain lemur species can function in both, and seem to have adapted to that better than or uniquely compared to other primates and stuff. And a lot of the lemurs, I said, were very small and have huge eyes compared to their brain sizes and stuff. But we do see in Sasquatches reportedly are big, large eyes and large eye sockets, and reported more activity at nighttime, but also the activity reported during the daytime, even with hunters and stuff, being around guns and stuff. And if an animal wasn't, acutely developed to be able to operate confidently against humans with guns and intelligently know, I'm at a disadvantage during the daytime. I shouldn't be messing around with this hunter who has a gun. I know what the boomstick does. You would think that, since we haven't captured any evidence, we don't have a body, that they're intelligent enough to run circles around us during the daytime and nighttime, that they functionally must be able to see really good both the daytime and nighttime. Another theory that I've heard Jeff from Pine Island Research YouTube channel, him and Doug Hychak have speculated that maybe they see in a little bit more UV spectrum, kind of like elk and stuff, which is totally different than all the evolutionary traits we see of apes and what we just read. But it would have a whole uniquely different set of colors and how they would see different colors and how they actually would see the world, which I thought was an interesting take and stuff, something we didn't cover here, but maybe in a different live show we can cover that a little bit, seeing in potentially different UV spectrums or shades where it's a little bit different. So after reading these articles and learning about this, and from my own experiences and all the reports of during the daytime and what they functionally seem to be able to do confidently, as well as they're doing it at nighttime when we are at the disadvantage, it seems like they are a little bit of both, diurnal and nocturnal. And maybe from examples of with certain lemur species, that it is evolutionary possibly that you can functionally be active at both diurnal and nocturnal times and have relatively potentially still have color, maybe have sharper eyes. We don't know how they developed. They might have better eyes and different adaptations than what we see in some of these specialized lemurs. Hook on that with a massive intelligent brain, and you have a creature that is very, very hard to capture, very hard to sneak up on if they're able to see you in the daytime just as well as they're able to see you at nighttime. The other thing downside is, we don't assume, we don't see that they have huge ears, so they don't have that hearing adaptation, which most nocturnal species do, is be able to hear at nighttime, because your other senses improve because your eyesight is degraded at nighttime. So, but there are several encounter stories where Bigfoot is seemingly not able to hear people when they should be able to hear people, which is very interesting. So what do you guys think? What do you guys speculate is going on? Do you think that maybe they have some adaptations for what we find in these old world monkeys and some new world monkey species and ape species, I should say, and some primate species, that some of these lemurs are able to glow at nighttime and stuff? And it has nothing to do with self-illuminating eyes. It's just the different setup of the eyes, the different thickness, the different ratios of combinations and stuff. So, and we do know that even a slight tweak of later coming out stuff could transform the eyes of apes and stuff in a very relatively short evolutionary period. And depending on how environmental pressures and stress causes such adaptations to massively take a hold right now and right away, I mean, it is very interesting and complex question on what exactly Bigfoot is. How are they able to operate how they do? What do they do? What do they eat? Where do they sleep? How do they see? How do they hear? Everything. So when we discover Bigfoot, oh, we got Bigfoot's DNA. It's this. And they're real, guys. The research has just begun. There's observational research that needs to spend hours and hours just watching them do stuff every day, let alone to figure out every single answers about their biological evolutionary structure. I mean, we are looking at another 50 years, if even probably Bigfoot is discovered today, of research that needs to be done and still will be done. So hopefully some of that help answer some of these questions and navigate some of the myths out there. Self-glowing eyes are just reflective ambient light sources and a really awesome eye structure setup. Nothing magical about those lemurs out in Madagascar. You can see the same glowing eyes with no lights. There's nothing magical woo about that, right? We just don't have a great understanding of what Bigfoot is, how they do things, and they go bump at night. I mean, it's a breeding place for scary bedtime stories, stereotypes of ghosts, and other crazy wackadoodle woo stuff, when in fact, we haven't proved that it isn't woo, but we certainly have we have no other examples of any other animal or species in this planet, really, that has paranormal capabilities and stuff. Everything that we see, even infrasound, is a natural evolutionary trait of what can be done biologically instead of paranormally. So hopefully that just helped a little bit. Maybe make you want to dive into some articles and read a little bit more. Some of these articles are a little old, maybe I probably should have looked up some more recent articles and stuff, but when you have craziness going on and you basically spend all night in the hospital and stuff, everything's okay. Everything's good. You kind of, don't have access to the computer and do some of the stuff that you wanted to try to do and stuff. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this little bit of presentation for you. And I hope to do more. If you guys have more topics, ideas, and things you want me to look into, just comment on the videos and stuff, and I'll take a look at it and try to give my little spin and take on sort of things. So I do have a different night vision camera setup. It is a digital daytime colored night vision camera. But at nighttime, it is basically the black and white one. Although sometimes it does like mess up and to where it's like it's functioning with color on the nighttime spectrum, which I I don't know what's going on with it, but sometimes it's like you turn it on and it has like colored night vision when you can see a little bit better resolution and stuff close up. It'll start turning into the colored one. So I'm not sure what's going on with there, but I do have noticed when I was out a couple of times that has happened. I got some running around to do. I got to check out some audio. I'll give you guys a little sneak peek of some of the stuff that I'm looking on. I have lots of notes, I'm sure. Oh, you guys can't really see it, but a couple pages full of stuff. Oh, that wasn't it. Uh-oh, did it get ripped out? I needed some more new notebooks. This one's getting old and about done. Uh-oh. Well, I was going to show you stuff because I have everything timed and cataloged. But, it it looks like it got ripped out and stuff. It's probably over in the other room in my bag. Well, I got 41. Yep. So I have examples of gunshots. I have examples of a firework mortar going off, is what it sounds like. And I have examples of potential tree knocks that sound different time frame. And I have an owl going off, hooing a couple times, and then crashing sound. And then I really wish I had these other papers in front of me, but on the other ones, couple minutes or I don't know how long after, the owl picks back up again a couple times and then crashing sound. I do have different wood knocks, a gurgling sound that I've heard more than once on some of these recordings that when I first heard it, I thought it was the tree because the tree has lots of different vines, and I thought it was the vines crumpling and crackling together when they're like waving, but there's no wind. I have this gurgling sound that maybe it's a bug. Maybe it's a bug. Maybe it's some other animal that's gurgling type of thing next to the recorder that's stuffed into a tree crack of a tree crotch and, with stuff put over it. Oh, that's going to bug me too. I will show you some of the stuff that I have because I know right here, this one's ready to go. I can show you different stuff with the owls and stuff. I just don't have like the timestamps in front of me, so I kind of have to like skip over real fast to figure out exactly where it's at. But I'll show you this one. I might have to adjust it so you guys, blah, 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 blah. All right, is this it? Yes, okay. So right here you can see, give me a second. You can see these wood knocks. I don't know if you guys heard that because I don't know if I activated the sound. But you can see the examples of it right there. Let me try this again. Okay. All right, we'll just show the entire screen for you guys. And this is some of the stuff that I'm working on. And I have many more. So there's two knocks right there. If you guys wanted to hear it better, let me enhance it a bit. So you guys are able to a little bit while we have some time. Not much time, but a little bit of time. So there are, I don't know how many dozens of hours I'm at now, but I have a lot. So you have these there. You can see them. They're very easily. I mean, I don't know if you guys are able to hear them because half the time people with different setups and headphones and computer displays, the sounds adjusted differently. So there's just a little example right there. I'll show you some more. We have different birds and stuff going on. And some of the stuff that I mark out is just interesting. It doesn't mean that it's Bigfoot stuff that I'm going to show you guys, but just stuff that I want to go back and make sure that it's marked and stuff. Let me go to this other one. I think this is the owl one. Maybe it's not. Oh, yep, it is. So off the back, you can see right here. I think there's one earlier than this though too. This is the second one. So we'll listen to this. If not, you guys can visually see what's going on at least. So right here you have this background noise that sounds like a nice snapped branch or something hitting a tree. And I know there's another example over here somewhere. I think around the 2-hour mark. And which is very interesting because it only happens during the owls both times. And man, where'd it go? Let's just zoom past all this. I need my paper with all the timestamps, obviously, because oh yeah, here's more owl. Not the one I'm looking for. this one. That is the barred owl sound. More crashing sound. And this is about an hour after the other sound. I don't know why it's messing up. Anyways, this is some more examples. Again, an owl is going off, and then all of a sudden you have crashing sound. Pretty significant, actually. And this is one of a couple different ones. And on a different recording, I actually have different tree knocks and different stuff. But that is all the time I have to do. I have to get going and stuff. I can do a different show on different audio and stuff. I got to find my piece of paper because that's a lot of work that I don't want to have to redo and stuff. So anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed that. That's a little bit sneak peek of one of dozens of different audio recordings that I've been listening through. And this weekend, all getting recorded, another minimum 36 hours worth of nighttime audio plus all the daytime audio, which I'm going to be honest, I haven't really gone through because, you know, majority of the times there's most likely nothing going to be there. And, you know, I'm already wasting so much trying, not wasting time, but spending time going through all this audio and stuff as fast as I can and marketing all that. I really don't have the time to go through the daytime stuff. And it's like twice the amount of hours and stuff, you know. The recorder records for 24 hours and I'm only listening to like 13 to 14 hours worth of nighttime stuff. It's, you know, slightly about half of the stuff I'm not listening to during the daytime. And I just don't have the time, don't really all that. So, you know, but yeah, there's Bigfoot out during the day and potentially I'm missing stuff and other people are missing stuff because we're not listening to the daytime stuff. But I appreciate everyone for listening, tuning in. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit something. I wanted to hopefully get you to dive deeper into this subject and into these subjects for you guys to go and do your own research, to read your own articles, to come up with your own conclusions and opinions on things, to go out there with a better understanding and mindset and hopefully get some evidence to prove where exactly Bigfoot falls on the night vision spectrum, nocturnal spectrum, the diurnal spectrum, or a little bit of both. Thank you for bearing with me and my improper reading skills of my nervousness and wanting to speed run through all the stuff that I read and stuff. I appreciate everyone who stuck around and reading this and can tolerate it and stuff too, because, you know, it makes me a little nervous to present this stuff on the in this live format. It makes me feel like I'm reading in front of the class again. And it was never a good feeling. I never liked that feeling. So I'm only doing it for you guys. And, you know, it feels pretty good. So to, you know, to do stuff that you love, just to have fun and, you know, to enjoy it with all of you guys. So thank you for everyone for tuning in. God bless each and every one of you. And I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day and week. I'm going to try to be back on Tuesday or Wednesday for a show. You know, check out Nikki's show. She's going to be having a show at 7:00. Check out, gotta plug in a bunch of stuff. Check out the link and everything will be in the description. I just made a community post about the Michigan Bigfoot and Dogman conference. We have our speaker lineup. Wasn't able to get more speakers because of schedule issues, but I do have a pretty good lineup at former ex-law enforcement officers, experiencers, data miners, and of course, we are going to show and have a workshop on Bigfoot reports gear tech review and uses, Native American myth and legends, how to cast a track. Bigfoot's not always all fun and games, and a little bit of Dogman thrown in there. So promoting that is only going to be $30 at the door, not $35 at the door. It's only going to be $30 for an entire thing, no matter if you're late, showing up the last minute or whatever. That's about it. But the new picture and stuff, which I think I have right here, we can hurry up and just show it real quick. Oh yeah, because it doesn't work. Oh man, this sucks. That's why. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, the link for the stuff will be in the chat. I've been posting to a bunch of Facebook groups and stuff, so maybe you've seen it. We got Val Z, the Bigfoot data miner, the Gumshoe guy, Michigan Bigfoot and Reports, Facebook, and we have Grizzly Chris from Outlaw Bigfoot YouTube channel, and they co-host a show called The Rolling Bones Sasquatch. Very informative show, very good group of guys, and the Bigfoot Outlaw YouTube channel has a variety of different other shows like Psychic Medium and Investigation into Missing People and Murders shows in a different variety of different paranormal, ghost, and related topics that you guys might find interesting. Like I said, God bless each and every one of you, and I hope you have a wonderful, fantastic rest of your day, week, and everything in between. Catch you on the other side.